when Imprint was trying to decide what to do for their next conference, I was thinking, this conference should be about Long Beach. There's all this stuff going on. So the idea is to show Long Beach as its own entity, with a very specific musical heritage, with a very proud architectural past, with really interesting food, and world-class skateboarding.
Early on in Killingsworth's career, Conrad Hilton said, hey, you've got to get out of Long Beach. I mean, you relocate to LA, there's just nothing here in Long Beach. And so Killingsworth said, no, I'm going to continue to make my roots here. Of course, I will work internationally. I will always come back to my hometown. And so years later, Conrad Hilton said, you're right, you actually made the right decision. And so while we talk about these threads around the world, we always come back to Long Beach and his work here.
Today, right here, sitting right now, we are living in the most creative moment in the history of mankind. Not in the last decade or 50 years or 100 years, ever. We are living in the most important creative moment in the history of mankind, right now.
We went to the Dragon House.
And
that's where we saw Nimol singing with a really good Cambodian band, and there's about six other singers on stage, and they had like this big spread of food backstage that they kind of take turns going up and singing a few songs. And then as soon as I saw Nimol sing, I was just punching my brother like, we gotta ask her.
So this was already a plan. We're going to find a singer for our project.
This is like about 2 weeks, for 2 or 3 weeks, we're like driving down to Long Beach. And then
because you had heard about Little Cambodia in Long Beach?
Yeah. I mean, realize that there's
a messenger.
The most Cambodians outside of Cambodia living here in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
My friends, they told me you should stay here, Long Beach. The most you can have another job because every restaurant they need you. Because I can sing, and they choose me every restaurant in Long Beach. So yeah, I picked the right place.
Now I got involved in punk rock. How I ended up in Long Beach, my dad was in the Navy, so that's how we ended up here, the old naval shipyard down here. And my father was stationed here, and when I was a kid, I used to have to salute him. When he'd come home at night, be Jack Grisham reporting for inspection, sir. So, I mean, you grow up like that, and then when all of a sudden something comes along that's maybe, hey, there's a lot of defying authority going on here, it's like, that sounds good to me.
I think we all have a responsibility as skateboarders to make sure we articulate how skateboarding should be portrayed, and I think they're in an instance where in some areas that might be not such a bad thing, but in an area that's like Long Beach where a lot of the skaters are like-minded and there's more attention with aesthetics. It seems like when we communicate what we want, it's like the way that's being received is more sport-like than creative.
Today was really kind of the first time for me outside of print interviews in the past to really put skateboarding in my perspective in front of people, in front of an audience where, yeah, it's a way of life and it's an art form far more than it is a sport, and how can we help perpetuate it as an art form rather than a sport.
You know the kind of restaurants I like to go to. I'm interested in Taiwanese breakfast. I'm not necessarily as interested in the 23rd best expensive Italian restaurant in Beverly Hills.
That's interesting because you are in a position to make or break a food, institution now.
I was before too. I mean, I've closed a few restaurants, and it's.
I was blown away. I think Jonathan Gold was very inspiring, and I kind of came into this not knowing what to expect and left inspired.
More people today are actively being creative more than ever, and they're making their own content and sharing with global audiences instantaneously, as I can see some people tweeting already. And creativity has usually been about us, we professionals in the creative business, changing something. But now it's us. It's we who have to change. We're the ones that are being challenged. We're the ones that have to evolve. So the new spirit of collaboration is made possible by technology, and the process is made more open. But yet, there is one thing that is hanging over our heads. Surprisingly, we're sitting in the midst of a creative crisis right now.
I tried to take everything that was discussed today and drop it into 5 buckets. Number 1, creativity. Number 2, the democracy of ... Number 3, progression. Number 4, corporate dollars. And number 5, home. and the concept of home. First category that I wanted to talk about was creativity. John started this day by saying there was a creative crisis. I go back to you, John, and after this whole day of hearing ideas, thoughts, inspirations, are we still in a crisis?
Sure, there is a creative crisis. When I talk about hard facts that companies are saying, all recruiters are saying they can't find talent, there's something wrong.
I thought today was very interesting because of the focus on community, the focus on Long Beach itself. But as it turned out, as all great conferences are, I end up being the greater beneficiary and learning so much more.
Sometimes the low-hanging fruit is so low and so in front of you that you don't see it. And it is right there for the taking. And Long Beach is that palette, it's just that canvas waiting here. Right here, sitting next to me, all these smart people, the low-hanging fruit is right here. You've got communicators, a filmmaker, passionate people, you've got a pro skater, you've got someone on the business side, and you have writers here too. You can take your message out there and tell the world what this city needs to do and can do.